What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Hawk Talk on Melrose. Got Tyler here again. We got a big game this weekend, Big Noon Kickoff, which I have some thoughts on that. We'll get into that a little bit later. But Tyler, what's going on, man? Can't wait to see you in less than 48 hours.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. This is a big game, right? Like this is real first, I would say first, big home game of the year where we're all kind of like, well, especially now we're a bit
Yeah,
nervous, but no,
yeah.
it's gonna be quite the game. And yeah, I agree. I love Big Noon Kickoff. I love if you're watching on home at television on Fox, you got Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, and as Colin would say, the All-American
Right.
girl, Jenny Taft. So, great crew to watch it on TV. I agree with you. I think I got some thoughts on it being a noon or 11 o'clock kickoff here, but
Yeah.
I'm pumped, man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's here basically. So
Yeah, it's a huge game. It's a game that we'll obviously get into, and we have our thoughts on the game and kind of where we're leaning towards. So we'll get into all that. So here are the topics for today. We're going to get into the injuries that Iowa has faced so far this year and has continued to face. It's honestly kind of annoying, but it is what it is, I guess. Quarter report card. I guess we did kind of do it last week where we graded each position, but after 3 games, I know it's technically 4 games, but after 3 games, I like to do like a quarter report card, and then we'll do quote unquote midterms after the 6th game. And then, we'll just kind of see how we go there. Thoughts on the Big Noon Kickoff. Then we're going to get into the Michigan preview and prediction. And then we'll finish up the podcast with our mailbag and wager winners, which, man, I had a rough weekend last week. I went 0-5 on wager winners. Not good. I'm never that bad. Like, I don't know what the hell happened.
yeah, me and you both. I went 1-4.
It was not good.
Bad.
I will say though, I did hit some bets that I actually did wager on that I like legitly did, but some of those I did as well, and yeah, I lost some money on that. So not a good week. So let's get right into it. Let's talk a little injuries. Once again, yesterday, Ferentz announced kind of a shitty situation. Justin Jacobs out for the year. I don't really know the injury, I guess. Came back 1 game, didn't even play probably played like the first couple drives, and that was about it. So he's out for the year now, and it just adds to the list of amount of guys that we have injured right now. And I get it. Every football team has injuries, right? It's part of the game. The attrition, all that, I get that. But man, it's like you look at the list. I mean, I wrote down just a list of players that we have had on injuries. So like on offense, Gavin Williams, number one. Now he's back. I get that, but he was out a few games. He was out the first game, and he was very limited against Iowa State. Nico Reganey, he was out the first 2 weeks. Now he's back, but he's still getting kind of in full swing of things. Keegan Johnson, I don't know what the hell's going on with him. That is like that you could talk about an entire episode, because that entire situation just seems really kind of weird. Devontae Vines, he's out, half the year. Who knows when he'll be back? Brody Brecht, obviously he is back now, but once again, he's kind of like Nico, where he was out for so long, just trying to get back in condition and stuff like that. And then Jacob Bowstick, who was having a promising camp, apparently from what I've read and kind of what Colby said, is he's out for the year. So, and then offensive line, David Cow, I think is how you pronounce his name, a guy that was going to contribute. He was a 4-star out of Illinois. He's out for the year. So and that offensive line, especially guard play, man, we need, all the depth there that we can. So offensively, yeah, we've been hit. And then defensively, Y.A. Black, he's out. Who knows when he'll be back? Terry Roberts, he's been limited. He didn't play at all last week. Justin Jacobs obviously now out. Jamari Harris, he's out for the year. Noah Shannon, who got hurt during Nevada. He did play against Rutgers, but he's another injury. So it's just like, man, it's starting to pile up. It's not good.
The injury bug's very contagious around Iowa City right now. I don't know. It seems like everybody's getting hit with it at some point. And yeah, that's the one thing about this team, right? Like we're not, especially when you talk about the offense, like we need all the help that we can get. We need our best players
Yeah.
out there. And I think, not having, specifically wide receivers and running backs that, are our starters. I mean, that's not a great what's the word? Well, it's just not great for our offense. It makes it even tougher for our already not great offense.
Yeah, exactly. And like defensively too. I get it. I mean, defense we're really good, but when you start having these injuries pile up, it's not going to be a good thing. Like you need guys, you need YA Black back. You want to have Justin Jacobs back there. You want to have Terry Roberts or Jamari Harris, even though right now we're pretty good with Riley Moss and Cooper DeJean, but you need that depth because what if one of those guys gets hurt, right? And so it does suck. I will say this though, and I'm not saying this in a good thing because I would take if you asked me like to have him back tomorrow, I would. But the only good thing is, and I'm going to say it's really hard to say it like this, but it will be nice to have him back next year because I really think that Justin Jacobs was probably going to leave after this year, go to the NFL. And he's obviously, he's out for the year now. He's barely played this year. Like, unless he transfers, he's going to be back next year. And considering the fact that we would have lost, we're going to lose Jack Campbell this year.
Could he still go to the NFL?
He could, but once again, I mean, he barely played this year. I mean, he's not going to, his stock is going to be so low. It's like, you're going to want to come back. NFL teams number one, are going to be like, well, you were injured all last year. Why take a gamble on you? But number two, there's not going to be much film on him. I mean, like, he barely played this year. He played pretty much the entire South Dakota State game, and that was it. And so he's going to probably be back, like I said, unless he transfers, which I don't see him doing that. So going into this year, something that we really didn't talk about because obviously it's this year. We still have all, why even talk about next year? But we were going to lose Seth Benson, Jack Campbell, and Justin Jacobs because Seth Benson and Jack Campbell are both seniors, and then Justin Jacobs is a junior, but we just kind of figured he was probably going to leave. And that would have been a huge void to fill. So at least with him probably coming back next year, it's going to be nice having at least one of the guys back. But I was thinking that last night when I was kind of preparing this episode was, holy shit, our defense. We think our defense is good this year. Like our defensive backs next year, hopefully Jamari Harris gets back healthy. Obviously Cooper DeJean, Terry Roberts, Xavier. I don't know about Kayvon Merriweather. He'll probably leave. I think he actually is a senior. And then Quinn Schulte will be back. So defense should be in good hands for quite some time, which is kind of a good thing. That's kind of a side thing from this entire topic that we're talking about, but just thought I would add that in there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they're going to be, we've got plenty of talent, that's one of those things like the defense. It's year in and year out. I'm just never really that concerned with it until I see it out on the field. And I just haven't seen that under Phil Parker. No, so I've got great confidence really any year that he's there. I'm not going to be, worried on that side of the football.
Yeah. Well, you saw that against Rutgers. Justin Jacobs gets hurt. We bring in, and then Cooper DeJean obviously has to go outside because Terry Roberts is hurt. And then, so we're forced to play Sebastian Castro at the cash, and he did just fine. He got a fumble, or he wasn't the one that obviously it was Kayvon, but he was the one that forced it. And, he did just fine. So I trust Phil. I trust what he does. I trust whatever player goes out there. I trust him. And, so off defensively, I'm never really that concerned. Offensively, though, on the other hand, it's you start seeing some of these injuries pile up, especially at the wide receiver room. It's not a good thing at all. So we got to hope we start getting a little bit healthy because once again, it's not like we're in the last stages of the season where this stuff is kind of happening. I mean, we're not the 11th or 12th game. I mean, this is literally the fourth game in, and we're already seeing injury after injury. I mean, I would hate to see what it's going to be looking like come November, but let's just hope some of these guys get back healthy. I mean, we need some of these guys back for sure. So, all right, let's get into the quarterly report card, even though it's not really quarterly because we've gone through 4 games. We should have really done this after the Nevada game because I would have been 3 games, but we kind of did anyways last week. But I just thought, looking at it again, I'm going to include the Rutgers game in this. So quarterback play, I'm still going to give it a D just because Spencer has shown improvement, but still not enough for me to be like, no, I'm going to give him a little bit more of a raise. Like I need to see like another maybe game or two of solid improvement for me to raise his overall grade.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it, and again, I don't want to take anything away from Rutgers, but that's, I mean, we're talking about the Big Ten. You've got a game specifically this weekend to really show or prove that, you deserve to be the starting quarterback and that, you've gotten better as the season's gone on and all that. So I agree with you. I'm still in about that category as well.
Give it like now, if he has a decent game against Michigan, I might raise it to
and honestly, it's the fifth game of the year. Like he should be improving. I know it's Michigan still, but he should be improving.
Yeah, for sure. Running backs. Now this one, like you could, I mean, hell, you might even think it might be an A. I'm giving it an A- just for purposes, just because obviously, I think it could be better, but an A- just because for how bad the offensive line is. I mean, they're still getting, decent amount of yards, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. And I think, the sky's the limit, especially for like Caleb John. Why am I drawing a blank of his last name right now?
Caleb Johnson, yeah.
Caleb Johnson, yeah. And Gavin Williams, I have kind of my thoughts on that. I think it should be Caleb and LaShawn as kind of the running back number one, and then Gavin's kind of that guy that you sprinkle in, but we'll see what happens. You like that grade of an A-?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, you look at the offensive line, like you mentioned, they're probably doing way better than most people give them credit for, considering our offensive line is so bad, and half the time they does seem like there's guys in the backfield and they're having to make a move and get, a positive yard or two. So no, I think and again, for as much as we utilize them in the pass game and everything like that, like I think if Iowa's offense really utilized them in the pass game and the run game, I think you would see, a really, like a Caleb Johnson really go off in certain areas of the, in the game. And, like I said, yeah, I think A-, somewhere around there is about where I would put him. Yeah.
I still think we need to start running more out of shotgun. Get rid of less of the zone blocking, more of a power running football team, but a lot more. I would love to spread teams out and shotgun formation with our running backs, but too good to be true.
And again, like we don't utilize our receivers like at all. So why do we not utilize our running backs? Like I don't get that. Caleb Johnson, like you get the ball in his hands, I guarantee you he's going to make a play.
Exactly.
Well, so that it just kind of makes me mad too. But.
Yep. Well, a lot of the offense, you can make the case, makes you mad. So, wide receiver. I mean, I don't know, D+.
I mean, injury it's tough with injury.
If we were healthy and we literally had Keegan Johnson, Nico Reganey, which Nico, like I said, I mean, he's back, but is he 100% yet?
Right.
Brody, Arlen Bruce. If we had maybe Jacob Bowstick, Devontae Vines, I mean, it would probably be more in the B-ish range. But injuries have kind of plagued that, and it's not really their fault. But until obviously I see a little bit more of improvement there. D+.
And again, that's quarterback dependent as well. So I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand a little bit. And I think, I agree. Right there, right with the talent that we have out on the field right now, it's not great.
Yeah. Tight ends, I'm giving it a B. I know they've been a huge reason or huge thing in our passing game. It's really what makes up our passing yards. But we've also seen some drops, and it kind of, and we saw against Rutgers, and we've seen it all year where, guys are just dropping some balls. Obviously, I love our tight ends. I love Sam Laporta, but he does drop some balls ever so often. So I got to give it a B for now. I just think I don't know, going into the year, I was way more like what's the word?
Yeah,
like
we had higher expectations.
Higher expectations for our tight ends. And so far it's not been bad, but I don't know, it could be better. Yeah. Just my 2 cents. Offensive line, then a D. I mean, once again, we've seen improvement, but it hasn't been consistent, kind of like the quarterback play. It almost feels like it's more worse than good on most cases. So give it a D for now. Hopefully that improves. So a GPA of a 2. I don't know. Is that
what you came up with?
According to this website. 2.0. Okay. Does that you passed college with a 2, right? I mean, it's not.
I don't remember what you have to get to pass in college, but yeah, I don't. Geez, all D's and D. Well, I guess you have an A minus in there for running back. I was like,
Yeah,
how did you
and
come
a
up with
B
a
for
two?
tight end. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's
two's not bad.
if it's passing, it's freaking barely passing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I'm not going to spend too much time on the defense. I just put defensive line A, linebacker A, corner A, and then safety A plus. And why I put an A plus for safety is because number one, we have not given up any like long down the field because of a blown coverage. Usually safeties are playing zone. We have not seen that yet. Now, South Dakota State, we almost, but it didn't. We were lucky that the guy overthrew him. But then not only that, but like Kayvon Merriweather has just been everywhere on the field, right?
Yeah.
And Quinn Schulte, the same thing. They're so good in open field tackling, right? And then like the last game, obviously Kayvon got the fumble, turned into a touchdown, had another interception. I mean, like the safeties have been playing unreal. A plus for them. And you could probably make the case A plus for the entire defense. I mean, hell, we are number one in scoring defense.
Yeah.
But there's always a little bit of, there's always something that you can improve on, right? There's always something like, for example, at corners, like Riley Moss has given up some plays. So it's like, maybe attach down a little bit, right? Defensive line, sometimes we get, the rushing attack on some drives that teams can just, get easy rushing yards. So maybe slide it down just a notch. But but a GPA of 4.08, now you're definitely passing college with that.
That's an A plus in college. So,
yep.
I mean, when your defense scores at the rate that they do, like when you line it up with the offense, I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me, but like we have 2 defensive touchdowns, we have 2 safeties. I mean,
yeah,
you're a pretty dang good defense, and we're number 1 in points per game on defense, and I think 6th overall or something like that.
Which I'm going to share that here soon to the in case people don't. But yeah, it's pretty damn good.
I mean, you can't. There's nothing to criticize there at all.
No.
I'm sorry. There's just
special teams, just real quick, kick return B plus. It has gotten better. I love Caleb Johnson, the kickoff return. I know you said that.
I think great addition.
Yep. Punt return, I don't know, like a B. I know who's been fielding punts. Has it been Cooper? I think it was Cooper DeJean it was Arlen Bruce like the first couple games, but I think it's been Cooper the last couple, or maybe against Rutgers for sure. But I just haven't really seen anything. I mean, it hasn't been bad. At least we haven't muffed a punt or whatever. But
haven't had many opportunities to return. It doesn't seem like. But
no.
Yeah.
Kicking a B for right now, but that has gotten better. We've missed some, but it has gotten better. So that's going to go up, I think. Especially with Drew Stevens, I think he's gonna be our kicker, and then punting obviously A plus. I mean, I could put like 20 pluses after A for Torrey Taylor. GPA of a 3.4.
Punting is winning.
Yep, punting is winning, especially for Iowa.
Yeah.
But a GPA of a 3.4, that's kind of what I had in college, so I will take that.
There you go. And then you look at this real quick. I mean, so the defense is a 2, and then you what'd you say the offense is a 2, the defense is a 4.08, and the special teams a 3.4. I mean, if we got our offense to like a 3.5 as well, like a 3,
yeah.
Seriously, we would be a very, very good football team.
100%. I mean,
it's just crazy how our offense holds us back so much and limits our potential. Really, it does.
Because a 3, because you're looking at our special teams right here, B plus, A plus, that's a 3.4. If you're just at a 3, that's like lower Bs, maybe some upper Cs. That's all I asked for. If our entire offense, if we had a couple B minuses and a couple C pluses, I will take that in a heartbeat.
We're just asking to be average.
And then maybe one position, like kind of like running backs, like in the A's. But everything else, if it's B minus, C plus, C, I mean, I will take that. But apparently that's too much
I mean, when you've given a quarterback grade of a D, an offensive line grade of a D, and a wide receiver grade of a D plus, you're going to be very limited. That's just the way it is. So
and you might ask the listeners, like, God, you guys are pretty harsh. But when you look at the stat rankings, which I'm going to share right now, it's not. It's not our fault that we're ranking them like this. Scoring offense, we are 120th in the country, 17 points. And a lot of that's because of our defense. We're actually dead last if you don't factor in defensive touchdowns. But this actually factors in defensive touchdowns. Total offense, we are dead last. And it's honestly not even close. The 130th team is like 40 yards more than us at 232 yards per game. Rushing 115. Passing offense, 124. Like, are you kidding me? We're only at 131 yards a game, really? But then you look at a defense, it's like, holy shit. Rushing defense 6, passing defense 14, total defense 6, and total defense, and then scoring defense number 1, 5.75 points per game. So yeah, I think our GPA kind of lines up really well with the stat rankings.
Yeah, I mean, stats don't lie. So you know, that's gonna be, the biggest truth out there is what you put out on the field. And we, obviously if you watch Iowa, it's night and day difference when you've got one of the two sides of the football team out on the field.
It sucks. You bring that up. It sucks because every time the offense goes out there, I feel bad. And I wish, why can't we just I don't know, be able to see a team go out there and actually feel somewhat confident? You're not going to score on every drive. I get that. But you at least feel somewhat confident that, hey, this is a drive that we're going to go down the field. I never feel like the way. I always just, I immediately think,
right. This is the first year I've really, it's weird. I know it. When you're at the game and, you speak from experience, this year, it's they go out there and you automatically just assume it's a 3 and out. And when they get a first down throw of 10 yards, me and you, it's we look at each other.
We cheer.
It's like a miracle.
Yep.
That's what
holy
it's game
shit.
To. That's
hell
that's
is
what
frozen
it's game
over.
To. Yeah. And that might result in the only first down of the drive, right? And that might be it. And you're just okay.
Yeah. It's
great.
It's
it's tough to watch. And that's why, I think you're right. I think it does start and end with the offensive line. And until that really improves, Spencer's not going to be super comfortable.
Yep.
The running backs aren't going to be able to, do a whole lot. But I think it's a work in progress. I don't know. Hopefully it's getting better. I'm seeing slight improvements.
If there was one grade that I would love to see, at the end of the year, a B or up, it's offensive line, because that is what makes everything turn is the offensive line. You have good offensive line play, your quarterback's going to be a little bit better, because once again with Petrus, and you just said it, when he's not under pressure and he has a good offensive line to work with, and he has a good arm, he's going to make some plays here or there. I mean, he's still going to throw some balls that aren't very good. I mean, it's just who he is, but more times than not, it's not going to be bad if he has good time in the pocket. And then everything just kind of falls under there. So if there's one position I would love to see the grade to improve, it's definitely offensive line. So we will visit this again. Actually, it'll be perfect. Right before the bye week. I love where the bye ends this year, or where it is. It's right in the middle of the season. So we'll have our midterms after the Illinois game, and we'll kind of see where we're at going into the Ohio State game, which looking forward to that game. Let's just we
don't need to look forward that far, do we?
Well, let's just see what we look like this week. I mean,
I was gonna say
if we look if we get blown out this week, then I'm really not looking forward to that game. Now, if we look somewhat decent, I mean, it's still, that game is just, I don't know. I don't care what I guess the more I think about it, I don't care what we look like this week, regardless if we're good or bad. It's just, that game is just not looking promising at all. Needs to be an 11 a.m. game I don't even think we have any chance, but just to have some sort of at least being a respectable game where we're somewhat close-ish. 11 a.m. game is the only. So, Big Noon Kickoff, just my real thoughts on this. I like you were saying, I love Joe Klatt, I love Gus Johnson, and I love Jenny Taft. But I hate that it's the 11 a.m. game. Just because for us, going to the game, you number one, you get barely any time to tailgate, which sucks. And I don't care if it's the first game of the season. I was saying that at the beginning of this, long ago, I was saying, I love the first game maybe being an 11 a.m. game because you can get back, watch some good games on that first weekend, because there always is. But right now, I wish it was a night game. Right. I wish it was a 2:30 or 4 o'clock game. The Penn State game was, and that's what I don't understand, is last year it was quote unquote the Big Noon Kickoff.
Yep.
But they changed it to 4 o'clock or 3, maybe. I think it was maybe 3 o'clock, 3 or 4. And I don't know why they didn't do it this time. It's whatever. I don't really care. But it just does kind of suck. I don't know. I would love to see Michigan walk into a
Yeah.
very, very hostile environment. It's still going to be hostile. I mean, it's still going to be a really good environment. Don't get me wrong, but it would have been a lot better if it was a night game. I mean, that Nevada game a couple weeks ago, our first night game since 2019, and even though it was miserable weather, it was still like awesome. Like the buzz, the environment was still awesome because it was a night game, and like I just wish it was a night game, or at least like a 4:00 game where it kind of turns into night by the second half.
Yep.
Just kind of my 2 cents. It just sucks because right now we're in this situation in the Big Ten. Like we're never going to really be on like an ABC night game. And so the biggest game of the week is going to be the Big Noon Kickoff. So if Iowa ever has a really big game, it's more than likely going to be 11 a.m. game on Fox. And that's kind of where my problem kind of lies. So.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, and I'd love to know the stats. You know what, Jim Harbaugh talks about, this is the place where top 5 teams come to die. Right.
Yep.
So what are the stats in saying that were all those games like night games? I feel like they had to have been afternoon or night games.
Night games.
And so I don't remember, a top team coming in at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's not a great sign for Iowa. I don't know. I'm just saying, when I think about these type of matchups in Kinnick, I go back to like a late afternoon night game as well. So it is different. It's just a different feel, I think.
I mean, obviously, if we were on the road, I'm all for 11 a.m. game.
Right.
But yeah, with Kinnick and stuff like that. And like I said, the environment's still going to be great, but it just would have been better if it was.
When Iowa played Michigan in Kinnick, it was a night game the last time we beat them.
2016,
And the last time we played on the road at Michigan, wasn't it like an 11 a.m. game or something?
Yep, 2019.
A shitty small scoring game.
Maybe 2018. Yeah, it was like 7-3 or 10-3.
Right.
Really? Can't. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and it's almost got, well, I'm not predicted, but it's almost kind of got to feel like that, like a very low. I mean, maybe
it could
be a little low scoring game. I don't know.
Now, I will say this, though, with the new TV contracts, though, it's going to be nice because obviously you're going to have Fox at noon. You're going to have CBS at 2:30, NBC. So I guess maybe there will be a chance that, like, like if the TV contracts were now, maybe there is a chance that we were on the NBC game this week, the night game, or maybe the CBS game at 2:30. So it's definitely going to be, I didn't even think about that before, but yeah, that's going to be pretty cool because every year we're going to have at least 1 or 2 games where, we're playing a Michigan or we're playing a Penn State at home, and it's going to be on one of those big time networks. And hopefully one of those years it's on NBC at night or CBS in the afternoon.
So cool.
Yep. Yeah. All right, let's get into the Michigan preview and prediction. Just real quick on Michigan, just like obviously a lot of you guys probably already know much about Michigan, so I'm not going to really cover much about them. But this is the first road game for Michigan this year. They had their first 4 games at home, a really easy schedule. So you could maybe make the case that their rankings, their top 25 rankings, a little inflated just because they haven't really played anyone. Now, Maryland is a solid team, and they took care of business, so I will give them that. But this is their first true road game. Last year, we all know what happened. We lost 42-3. I don't want to bring it up. Not a good game. Now, the first 5 minutes, it was fine because we got a 3 and out, and then we drove down the field. But then the rest is history. The last time they came to Kinnick, we were just talking. We won 14-3 in 2016, and that was coming off a beatdown. We lost at Penn State the week before, 42-14, and so going into that game, none of us felt good. I think everyone thought we were going to get our butts kicked, including I, and we ended up winning 14-13. So that's hopefully that is the case this weekend. Iowa's won the last 4 meetings against Michigan in Kinnick, so that's a good trend too. Let's keep that up. Let's make it 5 in the last 5 meetings after this year. So just offensively about them, they rely on Blake Corum, stud running back, averaging over close to 120 yards per game. They ranked second in the Big Ten behind Minnesota on that. JJ McCarthy, dual threat quarterback. We talked about that. Maybe the last podcast, obviously it used to be Cade McNamara. But JJ McCarthy just has way more of,
an upside.
A ceiling to him. And he has passed 5 touchdowns, no interceptions this year. They have Ronnie Bell back from last year. He got hurt like the first game of the season last year. So he's back. So they have some stud receivers as well. Defensively, dropped off a little bit from a year ago. They lost Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo, and some other guys, but they're still not bad. And once again, they really haven't played anyone, so it's hard to know. But they are allowing only 109 yards on the ground and 135 yards through the air. So defense is still good, just not as good as last week or as last year, I should say. And then their stat rankings, just real quick. Total defense, they're 8th in the country. Scoring defense, they're 7th. Total offense, they're 19th. And then scoring offense, they're actually 1st in the nation. But once again, are those numbers a little skewed just because obviously they haven't played anyone? And you could make the case for Iowa too. Our defense stat rankings are up there, and you could maybe make the case, are they a little skewed because we really haven't played anyone? I totally get that. So that's why some of those things is just kind of hard to really look at and really say, okay, this is the reason why this team is going to win, or it's just, one of those things. So Tyler, like always, start with you, give you, you want to give me your preview or kind of what you're seeing and your prediction on that.
Yeah. Obviously we've got number 4 Michigan coming to town, right, this weekend in Kinnick. My heart wants to say we're going to slay another giant at home. And I would love to go that route. I think with what I've seen so far throughout the season, our offense limits us in so many ways. And I look at a team like Iowa State coming into Kinnick, a really, a good Division I football program, more the upper, type of tier team, Power 5 team that we're going to play compared to what we played in Kinnick previously, South Dakota State, Nevada. And we didn't do anything against that defense. And I'm not saying Iowa State might have a better defense than Michigan. I'm not saying Michigan has a great defense. You just kind of laid it out there. But I just don't know if our offense is capable of doing a whole lot. I really don't. It was a great sign seeing what they did against Rutgers at Rutgers in a good environment. And it was a great test. Our defense scored twice. I can't sit up here and predict that our defense is going to get a pick six, a fumble recovery, and another interception. I can't sit up here and predict that. Now, I do think our defense, the way that it plays, it's going to have opportunities to get turnovers. Will they turn that? Will they get a pick six off of it? I don't know. Will it come down to our offense having to, if we're on a short field, can they put the ball in the end zone? I don't know the answer to that question yet. And I'll find that out, this weekend. Again, my heart wants to say, well, let's slay a giant. Let's slay another top 5 giant in Kinnick. But my head's telling me that our offense is going to limit us a bit. And it's going to put our defense in a couple of bad situations. Whether we get behind a little bit and Spencer has to throw and he, starts, overcompensating, maybe throws a pick, fumbles, something like that. The offensive line doesn't hold up. I don't know. I've got Iowa losing at home 20-10 against Michigan. I don't think our defense is supposed to give up 20 points. Like I said, I think our defense could give up like 13 points, 13, 14 points. But I think there's going to be a time where Spencer or somebody, we might turn it over against Michigan and they're going to get a short field and maybe capitalize.
Yeah.
So I've got us losing 20-10.
So you have us covering the spread plus 11.
Yeah. And it's the under again, which maybe, I have no idea. I just think our defense is really good. So I'm going to have the under.
Yeah. So kind of what you laid out is kind of exactly what I'm thinking as well. Offensively, I don't know if you knew this, but the last time we have gone 10 quarters of playing Michigan without scoring an offensive touchdown. Been 10 quarters, so 2.5 games. The last time it was like literally in 2016, and it was like in the second quarter or something like that. It's been 10 quarters. That's crazy. Once again, Michigan's defense isn't as good as years past, but it's still good. And our offense is
pathetic.
And in the last couple of years, better than this year, even though it was still not very good the last couple of times we played Michigan, but still better than this year's what we're seeing on the field. It's like how are we going to score against this team?
That's what you have to ask yourself. Where do we go down the field?
Yeah,
and get a drive where we are going to put the ball in the end zone.
When's the last time? And I wish I would love to research this. When is the last time Petrus has thrown a passing touchdown?
Oh, I have no idea.
I guess it was against Nevada.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't think about that.
But
Okay,
before that,
before
yeah, I
that,
mean,
it's been
there was
been a
what,
while.
10, he was 9 picks or 10 picks and a touchdown or something in the
The,
previous 9 games, whatever the stat was. It's crazy.
the reason why I say that is because I feel like if we somehow, like, let's say we have a drive where we somehow get into the red zone, are we going to be able to put up
That's
more than
what I
3 points?
That's right.
Are we? I just don't.
And
I
yeah,
just
I gave him
don't
10,
see
so
it.
I gave a touchdown somewhere. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
from the
it's the
defense or if
defense or
that's from the
offense.
special teams or yeah,
Yeah.
a running touchdown.
I just hate. I want to like you're saying. I would love like Hart said. Like I would love to be like we're gonna win this game, and we're gonna come out. We're gonna be firing all cylinders. We're gonna start fast. Our defense is gonna play lights out. Offense is gonna do just enough, and we're gonna win. 17-13 or something along those lines. But once again, it's like how are we? I mean, 17 points. Rob Howe, his prediction was 24-20, and it's like, where are you seeing 24 points out of this team? I mean, where are you seeing it?
He had
Because
us winning 24-20.
he has us winning in his prediction or his preview and prediction on Twitter, which I always like looking at. He has Iowa winning 24-20.
The one thing I'll say, you have JJ McCarthy going in his first true
Yeah,
hostile
which
road
I get
environment, and I get that. I agree with you. It's like, how many mistakes are we predicting him to make? Because where are we gonna score?
Yeah. So
I don't know.
I'm just gonna go on the limb that we're not going to get lucky where we're going to get us defensive touchdown. And I think if we do, I think we have a really good chance, but it's just that's too much to ask for. It's not going to happen.
You can't predict that.
And so I'm just going to say we're not going to. So then it's going to leave to, okay, can the offense score a couple touchdowns? I just don't see it happening. We might get a few field goals, but I'm going to say Iowa finishes like 6 points.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm going to go, I just don't see us scoring touchdowns against Michigan. I just don't. So I'm going to go 6. And then I'm going to go Michigan 24.
Yeah. I mean, you laid it out there. We actually had a better offense in years past, and we still couldn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Now Michigan's defense is down a bit, but so is our offense. So I think that equals itself out, and it's probably way worse for us because we literally have that pathetic of an offense. We have the worst offense in college football. I don't know if that changed from week 4 to week 3 to week 4 there versus Rutgers, but I'm pretty sure we're still at the bottom.
We are. So, and you might be like, some people listening might be like, wow, 24 points against our defense. But once again, I mean, Michigan's offense is good and I love our defense, but we are, you saw against Rutgers second half, we are capable of giving up some just chunk yardage just like that.
Yeah.
Love Riley Moss, great player. But every single game, there's at least once or twice where he will give up a big play. And it's like, oh my gosh. And so like, I see them doing that a few times and, before you know it,
receivers are really good.
Yeah.
Really good. They're actually like probably better overall than years past.
Yep.
They've got some studs.
Could I see Petrus just turning the ball over and just like that, and then they're already in field goal range where they go right down the field and score? Like I just like things like that, and that's the reason why I'm giving them 24 points. I'm hoping I'm dead wrong. I'm hoping I'm like dead wrong in this entire prediction, but I don't know. Going into the year, I felt really good about this game. I think I had Iowa winning this game. I think you might have had them too, maybe. I don't know. But the offense has just turned me off so much in these big time games where it's just like until I see it, I just can't. And I've been positive this entire year. I had them winning against South Dakota State. I had them winning against Iowa State. I had them winning against Nevada and then Rutgers. And so you could say, wow, you're being really negative or, people listening, but I've been positive this entire year and I'm still positive. Like I'm hoping that I'm wrong. And I'm hoping that there's a chance that we look good, but I don't know. I'm just giving it 24-6.
I think, it's going to come down to Michigan is going to have to make mistakes, and our defense is going to have to come up big.
Yeah.
Right. Like McCarthy's going to have to throw that pick or two. Our special teams, Torrey Taylor is going to have to pin them deep quite a bit. We're going to have to hit on our field goals when we don't score touchdowns. Like just everything's going to have to go our way in a game like this, I think, to win.
Yep.
Because in years past, I mean, I agree. Like our offense wasn't bad, and we still didn't score touchdowns. I mean, you made a good point. Like we are that bad this year on offense. Where's the points going to come from? I don't know.
I don't know.
Taylor can't can't kick for touchdowns or punt for touchdowns. So what are we gonna do? I don't know.
And once again, Petrus plays way better on the road, and so
that's the thing that we mentioned last podcast. Yep.
National TV, 70,000 Iowa fans. Like I can already see him making a dumb mistake.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. If we were and another thing too is injuries too. I mean, I think you have to play that in a factor a little bit. Like if we had Keegan Johnson, if we had a healthy receiving core, if we had, Y.A. Black, and if we had Jamari Harris and Terry Roberts, hopefully Terry Roberts still plays. They haven't ruled him out, but I'm just going to say he's probably not going to. If we had those guys, we had Justin Jacobs, I would feel way more confident, and I'm not saying those are the reasons why I think we're going to lose, because I think even with them, I would still take Michigan probably, maybe just a little bit closer. So I'm hoping I'm dead wrong on all this. I'm not using the reverse psychology or whatever. Hoping, I mean, I truthfully think that's how it's going to play out. I'm hoping that it doesn't work that way. So not betting the game, that's for sure. I know on wager winners, I took Rutgers +8 and I lost that one. So, all right, let's get to the mailbag real quick. And then we'll wrap up this episode. Tommy asks, why can't DeJean play offense? I think we answered this a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
And I think we both said we would love to. I would take him in a heartbeat at quarterback or wide receiver or whatever the hell you want to put him at.
Wildcat.
Maybe besides offensive line, but yeah, anywhere. It's Ferentz, and he's never going to. And I think someone asked him, and he just kind of shot down the question. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen under Ferentz.
He takes it as a joke, and it's like, well,
yeah, shouldn't I
could seriously see him being better than.
Yeah. Michael asks, when Charlie Jones left while Keegan Johnson was still injured, because Keegan Johnson was injured pretty much the entire offseason, why didn't we go out in the portal and see what options we may have had? So once again, because of Ferentz, we have to remember who the head coach is. And I love Ferentz. Don't get me wrong, love him.
Does he hate the portal?
There's he just seems like a type of guy. He's old school. Doesn't like. I mean, think about how many portal guys have we gotten over the years. Now we've been pretty fortunate. We haven't had many that have left, but we don't really go in the portal very much. I mean, one wide receiver that I could think of that we got was back in like 2013. We got and I forgot what his name was. Damon Powell. We got him, and he ended up not really doing a whole lot for us. He scored a couple touchdowns in his career at Iowa, but it's just something we don't do. And we should have, when Charlie Jones left, we knew Keegan Johnson was hurt. Maybe at the time, maybe we didn't know that. Maybe they didn't think that he was going to be out freaking like what he's been out. But yeah, they maybe should have gone out and got at least a guy that is, somewhat, has experience, different things like that.
I think there's a couple positions on offense where I think we could go out into the portal and get some, get a player.
And here's the thing: if Keegan leaves in the offseason, which I think is a really good chance, if we see some other wide receivers leave, what if Arlen Bruce leaves? I mean, they're going to need to go out in the portal and get some guys, because you can't just. I mean, I think Alec Wick might turn it out to be decent for us, but you cannot rely on walk-ons to be able to compete.
Well, we saw that what it looks like early in the season, right?
Yeah. So
it's not good.
Jackson, is it time to say we need a new offensive line coach? Just because obviously, the last 2 years it hasn't been great. I would love to see this. I would love to see Brian step down as offensive coordinator, go back to offensive line coach. It's where he is best positioned at. It's what he played. It's what he coached in the NFL. He is an offensive line coach. That's where he needs to be at. And when he was the O-line coach for us back in prior to 2017, our offensive line was really good. I thought our offensive line was good when I forgot what his name is, but he's now at Wyoming as the offensive coordinator. When he was the O-line coach for 2017 through 2020 or something like that, our offensive line was pretty good. But ever since this new guys came in, it has not been good. And I don't know what the problem is. Guys aren't developing really. I know Colby says it all the time. Like, we are getting highly rated guys, 4-stars, right? And it's just like, why are these guys not turning in or blossoming into what they were coming into Iowa? And so, it doesn't really make much sense. I don't know.
Well, you talk about how you got to produce to keep your job. I mean, you're starting to see the offensive line be in the same sort of category as some other positions on offense. just not getting better. You're not seeing the development. You're not seeing the improvement over the course of a season. Like we're at the quarterly, over the quarterly report now. Like it hasn't gotten better, really.
No, it hasn't.
It continues to be, a major weakness. And
And
that's, I would agree. I mean, I think that wouldn't hurt to go out and get a new coach. I mean, you might need someone fresh, a new face in there.
and what sucks is like with Kirk, I mean, that's his bread and butter too, is offensive line. And it's
Right,
I
right,
just don't understand how it can be so bad. I mean, it's
right.
it's not the worst unit in college football, but it's definitely not up there, which is just something that it shouldn't be happening at Iowa. And then the last question, Brian, realistically, who would you want as offensive coordinator if BF was to leave or get fired? This one's tough because there's so many names you can call out. I just want a guy that is an offensive minded coach. I would like to go out. I mean, this is realistic, right? Now, unrealistically, you could say, "Oh, I want Lane Kiffin, or I want someone like that." That's unrealistic. Realistically, go out and get an offensive coordinator at a school that's in like the Sun Belt or in the MAC and has proven the last couple of years. Because if you go look at some of those offenses, I mean, you saw what Georgia Southern did to Nebraska, 600 yards. Like there are some good minded offensive coordinators probably out there, right? Guys that have some experience that, bring their entire playbook. I wouldn't mind that. That's realistic. Bring, someone that obviously is going from, Sun Belt to, they would probably come to Iowa, more money, it's Big Ten. Like, why wouldn't they? Now, like, unrealistically, yeah, like I would love to have someone like Lane Kiffin or some big minded offensive minded guy, but that's unrealistic. Realistically, go out, get someone from the Sun Belt, get someone from Conference USA or the MAC that has proven success and has been doing good the last couple of years. Get someone like that.
Yeah, I think that, or like I'll compare it to kind of like, and that the Vikings had a really bad offense before Kevin O'Connell got there, but it was just a change of face, right? It was a
Yeah.
young offensive minded head coach slash offensive coordinator, and I just think that provides that kind of energy. We are set on defense, and the way college football, not even college football, NFL, everything's going is towards offense, right? Offense, 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 and it seems like we are just stuck in the mud
Stuck in the mud.
When it comes to offense, and we need. I agree. Like we need a change of either system or coach or something, because it is not working.
So I'm just like looking. I know my screen was down because I was trying to type on my other computer while you were talking there. I'm looking at like total offense right in the country, and you got teams like Georgia Southern at 10th, Western Kentucky at 11th, Tulsa at 13th, SMU at 14th. Go out and look at some of these offensive coordinators. See if there's, obviously you don't want to just take a 1-year sample, but if like some of these schools the last couple of years have been proven, you can't tell me that that offensive coordinator wouldn't leave to come to Iowa. As long as you tell them like, yeah, we're not, you don't have to switch up. Cause like, obviously if Kirk says, well, you have to run our offense, and yeah, they
right. You want
like,
that give them total control.
But you can't tell me that they wouldn't come to Iowa, way more money. I mean, you're talking like Brian Ferentz right now is making close to $1 million. I guarantee you the offensive coordinator for Georgia Southern is making like $200K. And you get a coach in the Big Ten. It's a good school, obviously a good program. So like go out and find someone, in that, that area, Fresno State. I mean, like I'm just looking here, like the top 25, UTSA, North Texas, right? Like these schools that are like, and their yards per game are up there. But once again, I don't want to take a 1-year sample either. Like if you're really wanting to hire someone good, you got to find an offensive coordinator that's been proven. It's not just 1 year. It's the last couple years their offense has been good, right? That's what I want.
And I think firing Brian Ferentz is unrealistic. I think you're right. Moving back to like offensive line.
Yeah, that's what I would love.
Offensive line coach take a step down. That's, like you said, you have to be, if you're not good at what you do, you don't keep your job in most occupations or jobs in this world that we live in. So just because you're the coach's son, I mean, I feel like that's not an exception to that rule. So I don't think necessarily fire him, but put him back, like you said, put him back to offensive line coach where he's been there and done that and knows the intricacies of the offensive line.
I have a feeling unless like we take a dramatic turn and our offense just magically starts looking a lot better this year, where we go into next year feeling optimistic, I just don't see any circumstance where he is going to be offensive coordinator next year, because I don't think he'll get fired, but I think he will leave. I think he he even kind of said it to Chad when they did that interview.
Right.
It's just you're always going to be looked at as like the coach's son. And I just think at some point he's probably going to look himself in the mirror and be like, I need to go somewhere else. Like, this is
It's a
not,
disservice to the team for him to keep.
yep.
Right.
And
Right.
just being in the family business, it's just not a good, and maybe he'll go back to the NFL. Maybe he'll go to take a different role at maybe a smaller school. Maybe he'll be offensive coordinator at, FCS school or whatever, a position coach at a group of 5 school or something like that. Like, just to maybe get his feet wet and then work his way up again. I don't know. I really don't think he'll be back as offensive coordinator next year, as long as if it continues the way it's continuing this year. There's just no way.
Right.
You can't.
And you're exactly right. It's not a 1-year sample size. This is dating back to
2017. Yeah.
5 years. I mean, that's really what it is.
We had a entire episode pretty much dedicated to our offensive back in July or early August, where we're going through each season and looking at the averages, and it's like, holy shit, how does this guy have a job still? And then we weren't even factoring in this year, because obviously we didn't know.
Well, I was going to say,
factor in this year, it goes down even more.
Lowest of lows, and it's finally hit what I would consider what is like rock bottom for an offense.
Yeah, terrible.
And if you can't get better, and we lose a lot of games, especially all the important big games, I think you're right. I think there has to be some sort of change.
Especially with how good the defense is. Like, you just can't justify. You can't justify keeping the guy. Right. And like I said, I don't think he'll ever get fired, just because it's just not something Gary Barta would do or Ferentz would do. Right. But I think he will eventually. I think he would leave, or maybe step down and become a different, position coach for Iowa. But even that, though, it's just like I don't see that being realistic, because he might still want, his hands in the water.
Input and sure.
Yeah, so it's just like maybe the best thing would be for him just to leave. Just leave. Just go somewhere else and hopefully have success there.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into wager winners real quick, and then we'll wrap up this episode. Once again, last week did terrible. I don't even want to give you my record, but I'm right now at 7-13, which is not good. I need a solid week. I need to go 5-0 this week. I need to go 5-0 like the next 3 weeks to make up for this pathetic performance by me. But yeah, we'll start with you, Tyler. 9-10-1. So you're doing a lot better than I am. So
I had a 4-1 week, followed up by a 1-4 week to put me back under 500. So gotta get it right this week. So starting it off here real quick, I got Illinois at Wisconsin. I'm taking Wisconsin -7. I know, they got demolished by Ohio State. I think they're going to take some pride in that home game against Illinois. I think it's a bad spot for Illinois going on the road against a kind of an embarrassed Wisconsin team, giving up 50-some points. And I know Wisconsin's offense is not great. I just think that they can beat Illinois by more than 7 points. So I'm going to go there. I got Washington -2.5 at UCLA. Washington's actually surprisingly a pretty good Pac-12 team. They got a really good offense with Penix Jr., transfer from Indiana. Their offense has been clicking, and I think that could be kind of a little bit of a high-scoring game. So I got them -2.5. Purdue at Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota right now in the Big Ten West is, clearly, I think, the team to beat, right? I don't know. I don't think Aiden O'Connell is going to play that game, and I think that's why the spread is probably what it is. Also, Minnesota's defense, is really good. And they played a not great Michigan State team, but it's still Michigan State at Michigan State, and Minnesota's offense is clicking right now. So I got Minnesota at home -12.5. They're definitely the team to beat in the Big Ten West right now. North Carolina State +6.5 at Clemson. I just think, Clemson coming off of a huge kind of emotional victory at Wake Forest, in overtime, might come back down to earth a little bit. I'm not saying Clemson will lose that game, but North Carolina State's pretty dang good as well. I think those two teams are like probably the best two teams in the ACC. And they have a good defense. So I like them +6.5. And then I got Colorado, Arizona. Colorado's just terrible. Like, they might be the worst Power 5 team right now.
Arizona even? Is Arizona?
I know, but literally, dude, Colorado has played some not great teams. Like Air Force, they've literally gotten blown out like 40-15 like every game. And Now, sure, this week they'll win at Arizona. So because I'm picking
You
them for a
picked them.
wager winner, but 17.5 is a lot of points.
It is.
Colorado is that bad. And I looked at the recent games, like they literally are terrible. So I'm going to go Arizona at home minus 17.5.
Man, it's not gonna be it's not gonna be good for Purdue if they lose this week. They'll be
Well,
0-2 in conference play.
and that's what I'm like. Do they
3
just
losses.
play O'Connell because like they really need this win? Like probably, but
Yeah,
I just think Minnesota's so good, dude.
Yeah, not good for them. All right, my wager winners. I'm taking TCU plus 6.5 at home against Oklahoma. They are undefeated against the spread this year. TCU is. I don't think they'll win this game, but you're giving me 6 points at home. Like I'm gonna take that. Michigan State plus 8.5 at Maryland. This one, like I could definitely see it going the other way, but I'm just gonna hope that Michigan State, Mel Tucker, they got blown out 2 games in a row, that they will go on the road. Maybe the line's a little inflated. I don't know. And, maybe win, but if not, only lose by 8 points. Like, touchdown. Give me that. West Virginia at Texas. Texas coming off, obviously, a game where they were up 31 to, 31 to 14 or something like that, or 31-17 in the fourth quarter, and they lose that game. West Virginia, we just saw last Thursday go on the road at Virginia Tech and pretty easily win that game. I bet Virginia Tech, and I shouldn't have. West Virginia just controlled that game. Plus, they have a couple more days of rest because they played on Thursday. So I'm taking them 9.5 on the road. Indiana at Nebraska. I'm taking Nebraska coming off a bye. Hopefully they may, their defense is still horrible, but Indiana's not very good either. And I trust that Nebraska's offense will at least be able to put up some points, similar like what Cincinnati did against Indiana last week. If Nebraska can get to like 40 some points this game, like Indiana maybe gets in the 20s, like I think they should easily cover. And they're also coming off a bye as well. So give me Nebraska to win that. And then Oklahoma State at Baylor. I'm going to ride with Baylor -2 at home. And then a game that I was going to do if the line changed was Iowa State on the road at Kansas. It's right now Iowa State -3. If it went down to 2.5, I would take Iowa State, but that 3 is what's killing me because I just don't know how that game's going to go. I could see Kansas winning, but I could also see Iowa State easily winning it too as well. So I'm not doing that game, even though I really kind of want to, but I want to see the line go down by a half point if I want to.
Kansas football. Could you believe we'd ever say that they'd be an undefeated, actually not bad team? I don't know how they're not ranked. I know that's another probably topic of conversation, but
so dumb how they're not.
Joe, I watch a lot of Joe Klatt's stuff, and he was the same way. He's like, if you're like an AP voter and you're like watching college football, how do you not rank Kansas?
Yeah,
and they have like 1-loss teams in there, and he made the justification that it's because they were ranked in the preseason. Like Pitt's still ranked like 20 something because they were ranked in the preseason. They had a really bad loss, but yet they're still ranked because they don't want to look not credible because they had them ranked in the preseason. It's a joke. I don't know. That's kind of all. I don't really like the AP voting.
Yeah, that's why I can't wait for college football playoff rankings.
Right.
But yeah, with the Kansas, it is just amazing. I mean, like we were talking in the last episode, Iowa State every year prior to this year, that's an easy chalk up win. It's like when Iowa faces Rutgers at home, right? Or Iowa faces Illinois at home. And it's just like you just automatic. It's just like that's a win. Like that's a win. I don't care what happens. That's a win. And now you just can't really do that anymore with like this Kansas team that's actually pretty good. And you got to actually go in there and play a good game to beat them. Else you're going to fall to 0-2 in conference play for Iowa State. And we looked at Iowa State's schedule. They have a tough schedule. I mean, like I said, they go on the road at Texas, go on the road at TCU, still have to play on the road at Oklahoma State, still plays Oklahoma. Like they need to win this game. You cannot afford to start 0-2 in the conference play considering you have some big games coming up. So yeah. Well, that is it for this episode, Tyler.
All we got. All right, man.
That's all we got. Big game this weekend, big showdown, big noon kickoff. Hopefully my prediction's wrong.
Hopefully we're wrong.
Your prediction's wrong. And hopefully we can have a good episode coming up on Sunday, talking like a great win, right? Going into Illinois week, which is a night game, another night game for Iowa football, which I love. I love like road night games because once again, like last weekend was awesome. Watch college football all day. And then you have something to look forward to at night with the Iowa game. And so I really like that. So I'm pumped for that weekend again. So hopefully we're coming off a really big time win. So, all right, Tyler.
Man.
Well, I'll see you in a couple days. Thank you guys all for listening. As always, make sure you leave a review, you rate us, whatever you have to do to get this podcast out. We greatly appreciate that. So we will talk with you guys soon. Go Hawks.